Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining me from. Welcome back to Too Ambitious. I'm your host, Trish Lindo. I'm so happy that you all are here today. I wanted to share with you, if you've never joined this show before, what the show is all about. Well, this is a live series that celebrates Black women and women of color founders who are innovators, disruptors, and yes, very, very ambitious. Now, today, I'm extraordinarily happy to have a wonderful young woman that is here with me today. Her name is Chrissybil Boulin. She is the exceptional CEO and founder of Vero Learning. It's a platform that's redefining the hiring process by accelerating career pathways and job placement for young adults. Now, Chrissybil is also a Forbes 30 under 30 and a recent graduate of Techstars, which is the largest startup platform network in the world. Yes, so if you've never heard of it, get involved. So I want you all to give her some love. Let her know how much you guys are loving the fact that she's here. I want to see all the heart emojis, all of them. So welcome, Chrissybil, to Too Ambitious.
Hi, Trish. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on the show today.
Yay! I'm so happy that you're here. And I know you weren't feeling well this week. So how are you feeling today?
I woke up on Saturday and I had no voice, and I'm a Gemini. I love to talk, so that was very scary for me. But slowly but surely, I'm getting my strength back, getting my voice back, and so I hope your audience can hear me okay today. I'm gonna do my best to power through. I do have a cup of tea here that I'll be sipping on, but we're getting through it.
Listen, sip all the tea, because you got to take care of yourself, right?
Right.
This journey of entrepreneurship is not an easy one. And when you are not well, that means that you need to slow down a little bit, take care of yourself. So
Very true.
I'm just happy that you're here. So yeah, let's get into it. I think that, we met, fairly recent ago, but we hit it off quite well.
Good.
We have a mutual friend in Miss Kalina Bryant. So shout out to Kalina.
Shout out to her.
She's super cool. But let me sort of set the stage for this conversation for a lot of people who may not know your work. So everyone, Chrissybil is extremely accomplished. And what struck me the most about you is how much you want to help your community to strive and to be their best selves. You founded an NGO in Haiti to support pre-existing schools, and you've served as a UN Global Youth Ambassador, also an Intel Education Ambassador to India. Tell me, first of all, how did this passion for giving back begin for you?
Yeah, I think it all started with childhood. My parents were from Haiti, and my dad has lived in Haiti my entire life. And, I can tell you it's not easy to not grow up with a father. But it gave me the blessing of being able to go to Haiti every summer and to just realize how lucky I was. For one, I didn't realize it was a poor country until I got much older because everyone had time to spend with you. I grew up in the US with a single parent. And so, she had to work and, keep the bills going. And going to Haiti, everyone has time. Everyone is with family and friends. But at a very early age, I realized that my friends in Haiti didn't have access to public schooling. They didn't have access to roadways or even fresh water. And so as an American, it just became really clear to me as a little girl that I was privileged. And I always wanted to do something to give back. I distinctively remember one of the best days of my life, going to Haiti with my dad, going horseback riding, going to the beach, having coconut milk, and just such a beautiful day. The sun was setting, and we just saw a little boy chasing after our car. And I asked my dad, why is this, child chasing after our car? And he tried to explain to me that this child was too poor to really afford to have a childhood, and that he was hoping that if he cleaned the car, he could make some extra change. And this kid was probably only 2 to 3 years older than me. And I remember crying and just telling him, this just doesn't feel right. And I told him, I was like, one day I'm going to do something and it's going to make it better. And so I always remember that little girl in me who knew rightfully that poverty and injustice for children is not right, and that we should all use whatever privileges we have to change that circumstance.
Yes, absolutely. I think, learning that at such a young age clearly had a tremendous impact on you. But I think learning that you have privilege at any age,
Right.
can be life-changing, So for you, I know also too, you started tutoring at 12 years old. Tell me a little about that, and how does that happen at 12 years old?
Yeah, so I had an incredible teacher, Miss Bonnie Green. We are still in touch till this day.
Woo, shout out to Bonnie. We love
Shout
that.
out to Miss
Great
Green, I'll
teachers.
send this to her.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
and I was in 7th grade, and I was getting A's and B's, and I thought it was fine. No one complained about it, I made honor roll, and she came to me one day and she said, "Hey, I wanna talk to you about your report card." And I was really confused because 'cause I'm looking at my classmates that are barely making it by, with C's and D's, and I'm thinking, "Why is she talking to me?" And she said, "I know that you're doing well in school, but have you ever considered that you could get straight A's?" And I was like, "No, I thought I was doing good enough." And she's like, "Well, I think you can do even better." And she's like, "I want you to challenge yourself this semester. Just try your best to see if you can hit straight A's." And since the 7th grade, I have always had straight A's. And I think it was, I thank God for her because I ended up going to the University of Cambridge. And there was absolutely no way that I could have ever had that come true if I didn't have that work ethic and that discipline. And so as she saw me get straight A's, she's like, "See, you can help others too." And she recommended me as a peer tutor to classmates that were struggling. And so my first job was just helping my peers, and I just loved that aha moment when someone went from just being like, "I can't do this, I'm never going to get this," to just that light bulb going off, and it translates into confidence in every area of life. And so I just loved that and decided that I wanted to keep doing it.
I think that's wonderful. Do you remember the first, friend or peer that you tutored, their name? You know?
Yeah, James. Yeah.
James.
Yeah.
Alright, wow. That's incredible. I bet you had such an amazing impact on his career and his and, how he sorta showed up. Your first company, Jumpstart Tutors, tell me a little about that. Did your passion for tutoring lead to that, I'm guessing, to your first business?
It was a long journey. I never saw myself as an entrepreneur. I didn't have anyone in my family that owned businesses, so it just wasn't a label I'd put on myself. When I went to Cambridge, I studied development economics and I thought I was going to become an economist. I even worked for the Organization of Cooperation and Economic Development after graduating, which is kind of like the UN for economic development. Um,
Wow.
and it was a fancy job, and everyone was like, "Oh, Sybil got the best internship," but I didn't like it. I didn't like the idea of having to wait 20 to 30 years to figure out if the work that I
Mm,
had done had positively impacted lives when there were
absolutely.
kids, generations of people that they just can't afford that. And so
Right.
I took a really big leap of faith. And after graduating from Cambridge, just $500, no startup capital, no prior business
Mm,
experience, decided to start Jumpstart primarily because I was so inspired by social entrepreneurs. I would meet people who were doing incredible work in Africa and the Caribbean, and they were helping millions of people and they were making great money. And I thought, I don't have to choose. And those people inspired me so much. And I thought, well, let me tackle the problem that I understand best. And going to Cambridge, being a Black woman and realizing there were so few of us there, I realized that this glass ceiling needed to be broken. It's not that we're not capable, it's just that we often don't have the resources that we need. And so went back to my community, and yeah, now we've served over 7,000 kids. We're going to be celebrating 6 years in business next month. And so it's
mm.
pretty surreal.
Incredible. When you talk about, not everyone has, the same opportunities or access, what was your experience like getting into college? And navigating that part because I know even for me and then probably for a lot of people who are watching, like it's not a straight line, right? You
Yeah,
got to know the right people. You have to know all the things to do. There's a list of things you need to do to get into the college of your dreams and that
right.
whole thing. But what was your experience like?
My mom immigrated again from Haiti as a single parent. She didn't have thousands of dollars for test prep. She didn't know what an SAT was or what implications it had on my future. And honestly, I was a straight A student. So she didn't really think that I needed the support. And
Mm.
so I still remember it was my dream to go to Duke. I was a total nerd in high school, like 5.0 GPA, president of 3 clubs, like thought I did everything right. And I remember opening up the mailbox and seeing a small letter. I knew I didn't get in. And as I read through it, it said I was waitlisted. And I spoke with an admissions counselor, and they told me, they're like, "You're great. but your SAT scores just weren't good enough for Duke. And that was hard. Yeah, that was a hard pill to swallow. I think it was the first time in my life I realized that my background put me at a disadvantage. It wasn't my ability, it was literally the resources I had access to. I hated that feeling. I'd been tutoring since 12, and so I decided I wanted to change that. And so I created an SAT curriculum initially just for myself.
Yeah.
Started off at Florida State, but knew that I wanted to transfer into a top 20 school. And after getting a perfect score, I transferred to Emory University, and I helped about 100 kids get into Ivy League and top 20 schools. And so I think that's when that aha moment, like the first aha moment that maybe I could be an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
started to shine its light. But it took many, many years for me to have the confidence and the faith to actually go for it.
Yeah, I think that is it truly incredible to hear because I remember when I took my SATs and yeah, the first time, yeah, not so great, and had to rely on other means. So, it's such a huge part of the process of getting into college. So the fact that you created something to help others is wonderful. And, I thank you for all the light that you're putting back out there to the world because it's so needed. So thank you for that. When you talk about Jumpstart, tell me a little bit about the process of setting up your business. We know that, VC funding is real and that's something that you can have access to, some of us. However, we know that less than 1%, especially Black women, get VC funding. So, what was your experience like setting up your business and scaling your business right out the gate?
Yeah, with just $500, you have to be very, very strappy. You have to really think about what's important and how you can get the best talent for the lowest cost. And so, websites like Upwork and Fiverr
Mhm.
were really, really instrumental in helping us get off the ground. You can find talent from all around the world at a much more affordable cost. They provide you ratings on past work and portfolios. And so, used help from Fiverr to create a one-page website, got
Yeah.
a designer to literally create our logo for $10, if you can believe that.
Oh my God. $10? Wow.
$10. Yeah, we use Vistaprint, I think, for our first business cards. So very, very bootstrappy. To find tutors, I used Indeed. I just made some free posts on Indeed and started interviewing. And then to find my first few clients, I think it's really important when you're starting a business to provide something for free before you ask someone to invest in what you're selling. And so for me, what I could provide was my expertise. And so I went to libraries and schools and nonprofits, and I spoke with parents and educators about the SAT and the ACT and college admissions. And as I continued to give free talks, I started to become known as an expert in my field. And the referrals started to come in. Also use websites like Nextdoor. It's a really good way to
Mhm.
just connect with your neighbors who might want services. And yeah, before you know it, it was our first year and we made our first six figures. And so it's definitely possible, but you got to be very bootstrappy. You got to be willing to provide something for free, so that people can really trust you and see the value in what you're providing.
Yeah, absolutely. Those first, let's say the first 6 months to a year for your business, what did you learn the most about yourself and what it means to be a business owner?
It is not for the faint of heart,
Yeah.
guys. It's probably one of the hardest things that you could do. I mean, like the idea of working a corporate job now, it sounds like almost like a vacation because I don't get vacation time. I don't have like a 9 to 5, right? Like you're constantly on it. If you're going to succeed as an entrepreneur, it's really important that you have a lot of grit and tenacity because you are going to have bad days. You are going to wake up and some days everything's going to go wrong. And you're going to have the ability to have a purpose that's greater than the difficulties that you're facing and something that's going to keep you going. Another thing I think that's important is become aware of your strengths and weaknesses. So in the first year, rightfully, I was just figuring things out. I did a lot on my own, and you really can't scale on your own. And so it's important to, get an assessment of where you're at, look at your strengths and weaknesses, and then from there start to figure out what you can allocate to others, what are the things that you need support with. The faster and sooner that you can get yourself mentorship, and surround yourself with people who maybe are where you want to be in the next 10, 15 years, I think the faster that things start to accelerate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when we talk about accelerate, you also became a Forbes 30 under 30 as well. Tell me a little bit about that process, because you always hear about people making this list,
Mhm.
but I'm always wondering, like, how do you get on the list? And what was your experience like with all of this?
Um, I didn't know that I would get on the list. I mean, for one, I had never worked for a corporation. Like I've never had a job, right? I graduated from college, I started my business, and we're on business number 2 now. And so I think that I may have not had as much visibility as others who worked for really big corporations and had that standing. I also didn't know many people on the list. So my story, I think, is a little bit different than other of my peers that were on the list who had like 10 or 20 of their closest friends recommend them. Um, but I just had tenacity and belief in what we were doing and hope that it was enough. I was lucky that I did have like a former classmate who had been on the list before, the only person I knew. And I wasn't even sure if I should apply. I was like, we haven't hit $1 million yet. I don't know if I should apply for this. Like, here are our stats. Here's where we're at. What do you think? And she's like, absolutely, you have to do it. And like, I will recommend you. And she's a Black woman, Joanna Smith. Shout out to her. She's also in
Hey.
the education space, and so it's just so beautiful to have others uplift you. Because quite honestly, I didn't know if I should apply. I kind of had a lot of imposter syndrome, and I look back now and how my life would be different, if I didn't take that leap of faith. And I'm so grateful that Joanna saw that in me and encouraged me to believe in myself. And so yeah, just applied and woke up one day to an email saying that I was on the list. I was in tears.
Woo!
Um,
Yeah.
I was already 29 when I made the list, so it was my very last chance.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thank God just because, not for the things that people think. The things that I'm most grateful for about being on the Forbes Under 30 community is it's really all the friends I've made. I mean, the
Absolutely.
entrepreneurs that I know, they're my best friends. They inspire me. They push through challenges. They make things happen. I'm also a board member for Miami, so the ability to host events and just bring people together it's phenomenal. I just don't feel alone anymore in my entrepreneurship journey. I know that if I have a question or if I need support, that I have a whole network of people that I can lean on. And so entrepreneurship can be very lonely. And I think if you can get yourself a community, it does not have to be a Forbes Under 30 community, but any
Right.
community of entrepreneurs that are working towards something beautiful, I think it's just going to just accelerate you and push you to achieve more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, community is everything,
Right.
whether you're building it, you're a part of it. Um, it definitely can help to take not only your career, but also personal growth to the
Oh,
next
yeah.
level. So yes, you're absolutely right about that. You mentioned that, you have your second company. So tell us a little bit about Vero Learning. Um, I'm just in awe because this is your second company, you know. So, when you say, hey, this is not for the faint of heart, this is not easy, and you start your second company.
I know. I had to do it. I had to do it for the kids. Like the group of people I want to serve are, young adults. And during the pandemic, I started to get phone calls from high school seniors. And if you know anything about tutoring, number one, kids don't ask for tutoring. They're usually forced into it. And so just the fact that we had, 17, 18-year-olds calling us for test prep was pretty weird. But as we asked them more questions, we figured out that these kids were frantic because as distance learning persisted, if they could not afford private tutoring, essentially their GPAs dropped and they were no longer able to get a scholarship, which meant that they could no longer go to college. And so COVID literally changed the trajectory of life for so many kids. And a lot of these kids literally are walking across the graduation stage and they have no idea what they're going to do next. And so we did customer discovery because we honestly didn't have a solution for them outside of academic support.
Right.
And if you're a senior and your GPA has dropped, it may be too late. And so we did customer discovery and we found that 80% of high school seniors report that they're not ready to make college or career decisions,
Mm.
which is pretty scary.
Yeah.
And so when we asked these kids, then what are you currently doing? Like, how are you navigating the space? more than half of them admitted to having less than 5 conversations with any adult in their lives about their next steps. And so if you think about it, like you and I, we can use LinkedIn and Indeed, and we can use our network to leverage opportunities for our careers. But these kids, they don't know what employers are looking for. They don't know where they currently stand with those skill sets, and they don't know how to bridge that gap.
Exactly. No point of reference, you know?
None at all. None at all. Nothing to put on a resume, et cetera. And so, on the other hand, we realized we needed to talk to hiring managers and HR leads to see, like, do you guys want to hire young people who don't have degrees? And the good news is that many of them do. And so
Mm,
companies, Visa, Bank of America, Tesla, GM, they've removed degree requirements from many roles. But we still have a lot of job vacancy and high unemployment rate within our youth. And so we ask them more questions like, what are the challenges you experience when you do hire young adults?
right.
It became clear to us that there is a bias. So,
Mhm.
regardless of industry, hiring managers for early career role, they want someone who's going to come in early, who's going to stay late, who's adaptable, who's a self starter. And they don't believe that Gen Z has those skills,
Mm,
especially if they have not gone through the professionalization of going through college, like that 4-year degree. And so
right.
it's really the durable skills like communication, time management, problem solving, critical thinking. It's really those durable skills that are preventing our young adults from getting jobs.
Yeah.
And so that's why we decided to create Vero. We are basically bridging the gap between classroom learning and job placement opportunities for young
Mhm.
adults. And so we start with pre-employment screening, which are basically a series of mini assessments that help users understand their natural competencies, their skill sets, their interests, what makes them shine. And from there, we generate a personalized career report. So it actually includes a SWOT. And for a lot of kids, this is the first time that they're aware of, okay, these are the skills employers want me to have. And this is where I currently stand. And what's cool about the SWOT is anything that we identify as a weakness or threat, we actually recommend course modules to help them build those skills, whether they be third-party course modules or proprietary to Vero's platform.
Okay.
And so in our next iterations, we're going to use AI so that we can actually suggest compatible career pathways to students. We're hosting corporate pilots. We just finished one with Office Depot where we had their
Mm,
employees take our screening so we can identify what makes someone a better fit for retail versus IT or healthcare. And so we will use the same AI to suggest best fit matches for students who want to work for Fortune 500 companies without having degrees. And so we're really, really proud of helping people figure out what they're good at, placing them where they're meant to be, and just giving them hope because no 18-year-old should think that their lives are ending because they don't have a degree. It's
yeah.
crazy.
It is crazy, and I mean, I echo the sentiments of Bello here, says, "Awesome job with the kids, Chrissybil." So,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, awesome work. One of the things I'm curious about as well is how the platform actually works. So, do the kids come to the platform first, and how do you connect them with potential employers?
Yeah, so right now our goal is that no student has to pay for Vero, and that's ideal. And so our main go-to-market strategy is selling directly to nonprofit organizations as well as school districts.
Mm,
And
okay.
so we provide the services to them at a nominal cost so that the students can access our platform for free. And on the corporate side, where for someone who never worked for a corporation, I was surprised to see just how much support I had in my network. Our advisory board is incredible. It includes the VP of HR for Office Depot, Mary Bryan, the head of global employee relations for Visa, the VP of growth for the International Franchise Association. We've got some really big hitters, and they've been instrumental in helping us understand what tools they currently use, what things are working, what things aren't working. And we are continuing to host corporate pilots so that we can
Mm,
have employees that are currently in these fields take our pre-employment screening so that we can identify what characteristics and skill sets might make someone a good fit for, let's say, welding or plumbing. And the jobs that we're looking at either start off with really high pay, like 70K or above, without a degree, or there's high career trajectory. So when you think Office Depot, you think minimum wage job, which is true. But I can tell you that I've met a dozen plus VPs and executives that started off as retail associates. And so if a student gets matched to Office Depot, they're going to see a video of Jonathan, who's the VP of HR, and he's going to talk about how 15 years ago he wasn't sure what his next steps would be and that he applied for this role. And here's how he was able to navigate from associate to manager to eventually executive. And so that is the long-term goal for Vero, is that our AI does not only suggest best matches for career opportunities and first jobs, but can actually help you hit your career goals by looking at other professionals that have been able to navigate and helping you figure out when to pivot and what skills you need to continue building.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think, they always say, you don't know you can do it until you see it,
Right,
so
right,
this is awesome. And, I think when you are 18 years old and someone's giving you a hand to get you started on your career journey and just in life, basically, what a
right.
gift. What a gift that is. So, I think what you're doing with Vero Learning is extraordinary and so needed, you know.
Thank you.
Um, I love that you're also leaning into AI. Everybody's talking about AI, AI, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
We all use it. I'm guilty of it. I use it very much.
same.
ChatGPT and the one for Microsoft I use as well to create
Mhm.
images and everything like that. When you talk about AI in terms of Vero Learning, how does that structure? Is it proprietary or do you partner with another organization? How does that work? Just curious.
So we will be building proprietary models, but we're also basing it on information that's currently available. There's a lot of information about stars, so our Americans who don't have college degrees, and transferable skills and how you can level up based on the previous job you have. And so we're definitely going to use the best frameworks out there, but as a starting point. But the corporate pilots that we're conducting, I think, is incredible because you may have never known that welding could be something that you'd like or be good at, but your profile may be a 90% match to people who not only do well in that field, but actually enjoy it. And so I think that the way that we're using AI is going to be really cool because it's a blend of frameworks that exist, but then also proprietary data that we're collecting from our students and from employees.
Mm.
And yeah, I think it's amazing for career exploration just to kind of figure out the different things that you could be good at and that you could excel at.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know we're rounding out our time with you, which makes me sad because I could talk to you for
Oh.
a couple hours. But I do want to find out, I know you said that you were raised by a single mom. What is that where are you at right now with your mom? And I can't imagine what she must think of everything that you've achieved at this point. But tell me what that is like right now. What does she say to you, and you built two companies, you know?
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely really proud. I come from a Haitian background, and so if you're Caribbean, and or you have parents that immigrated to the U.S., I think there's always fear. Like they sent me job applications for the first 2 years
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
started my business. They're like, "Oh, just in case this doesn't work out." And so I think that's normal. I think if you come from a family and that sees you achieving things that they haven't done before, that there might be some apprehension in the beginning. I mean, but of course, she's our biggest fan. She, whenever I'm in Florida, she comes in person to events. Whenever we have meetups with our tutors, she's very happy to be like, "That's my daughter," and um,
I love it.
yeah, it's great. I mean, I think the beauty is, my mom is 71, but just, teaching her to dream big and teaching her, that the sky is not even the limit and that we can continue to grow. And I think it gives her hope to see me accomplishing things that maybe she didn't think was possible before. So
Yeah, absolutely. Would you consider yourself ambitious, Chrissybil?
definitely, I would, but I think the things that inspire my ambition are beyond me. I think being an entrepreneur is such a hard, lonely journey with endless learning curves, lots of ups and downs, a lot of uncertainty. I don't think that I would have the drive to do it if it weren't for the fact that I really believe that the work that we're doing is going to contribute to a better world. And
Yeah.
so very ambitious, but ambitious about things that make the world better, that help people find what makes them tick. Because ultimately, I think that that's why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for that, and thank you for all the light that you're putting back out there and making sure that, people who are coming, up behind us are taken care of and supported. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all that, you're doing. It's
Thank
greatly
you.
appreciated. Of
Thank you
course.
for having me. Thank you for having this amazing podcast and shining a light on entrepreneurs of color. I mean, there are so many of us doing incredible things out there, and you're right, the stats are against us, but we continue to break those glass ceilings. And I'm really grateful that you have this platform where we can all
Yes.
connect.
Well, thank you so much. You keep shining your light, Chrissybil. Is there anything else you want to share with us about Vero Learning or anything else, actually?
If you happen to be a nonprofit leader, if you work in HR, if you work within the school system and you think that this is something that would be useful for your students, please feel free to reach out to us at verolearning.com. I'm really active on LinkedIn as well, so that's a really good way to reach out to me. If you're an entrepreneur and you're interested in raising capital or interested in learning more about Techstars or accelerator programs, I'm always available for quick 15-minute meetings. So yeah, just reach out. I would love to be a resource to everyone out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like someone commented, Sybil, this is amazing work. Yes, it
Thank
is.
you.
And you are truly, truly amazing. So thank you for your time. I hope you feel much, much better soon.
Thank you.
So thanks for taking the time to be here. And we'll see you next time. We'll keep following your journey. Make sure everyone follows Chrissybil on LinkedIn. That's where you can reach her and continue to follow her journey. And then everyone, we will see you next week with another incredible woman of color, Black woman entrepreneur who is doing amazing things in the world. And like everyone always says, it's all about the light that you put out in the world. It's not so much about the money. It helps, but it's really all about what you're giving back to everyone. So thank you for joining us on Too Ambitious today. I'll see you all soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.